In 1979, one of the participants in a congregation of Swedish Federation of Speleologists took a walk along the valley and paused briefly at a sandy beach by Dolinsjön. Being a lover of nature and diving, he gazed into the crystal-clear water as he sipped on his coffee. That momentary staring led to the discovery of one of the longest caves in Sweden, and years later, his cave exploration group, the Expedition Bjurälven, would be back for several dangerous expeditions in the deep waters of Sweden. The Bjurälven Karst region is situated in the northern part of Sweden. It's the longest underwater cave in the country and is explored and mapped by a team of cave divers every year. The river Bjurälven flows from the mountains of Norway and enters the Swedish province of Jämtland. It meanders past the peaks and goes through the Bjurälven Valley, where it disappears underground into what is known as the Bjurälven Grotto. The great mass of water thunders as it is swallowed by the grotto and reappears over 1.5 kilometers away. The course of the water and the nature of the passage remain a mystery. The Bjurälven Valley is well known for its numerous caves and is a popular destination for speleologists and cave enthusiasts. The existence of these caves is due to the calcareous limestone deposits that were formed around 450 million years ago. The river water seeps into every crevice, gradually dissolving the calcium over hundreds of thousands of years. As a result, the flow of water creates magnificent underground chambers in an ongoing process that continues to shape the landscape. This dynamic process also causes some areas to cave in, creating funnel-shaped depressions known as dolins. Back in 1979, the Swedish Federation of Speleologists gathered in the beautiful valley of Bjurälven to explore the area's underground treasures. Bo Leander, a passionate cave explorer with extensive experience in discovering hidden gems, was among the participants. During a leisurely walk by Dolinsjön, the Dolin Lake, a water-filled dolin, Bo and his companion stumbled upon a sandy beach. While savoring a cup of coffee and admiring the clear water, Bo noticed something intriguing at the bottom of the lake. He grabbed his dive gear and slowly descended to investigate the strange anomaly. Much to his amazement, he had discovered a small opening to a cave, about 4 inches wide, hidden beneath the gravel. Though too narrow to enter, it was an incredible find. Bo snapped photos of the opening with his Nikonos camera and marked its location on a map. Back then, no one could have predicted that Bo's discovery would pique the interest of a cave diving expedition team over 30 years later. Fast forward to present times, and the dedicated explorers known as the Bjurälven Cave Expedition Team were equipped and excited to investigate the promising cave. Over many evenings, after acquiring a permit to enter the reserve for a week, the team of select divers met to strategize and plan the mission that would become Expedition Bjurälven. Expedition Bjurälven is a remarkable project that's been running for 12 years and is comprised of a team of great divers and support crew who brave the height of the Swedish winter to explore the Bjurälven cave system in the Swedish mountains. This project brings together a diverse range of experts, including divers, speleologists, local area experts, and surface staff. Around 20 to 25 people are involved in the project, each bringing their unique skills and knowledge to the team. One such dedicated member of Expedition Bjurälven is Mick Tilja, who has been part of the team since its inception in 2007. Mick is an experienced diver who began his diving journey in 1997 as an enthusiastic wreck diver. However, he discovered the fascinating world of caves and mines and has been exploring them ever since. Mick is also a media expert and photographer, working in a media agency and founding the Scandinavian scuba forum, Dykarna.nu. He's responsible for the team's homepage and social media updates, producing movie clips for the expedition, as well as mapping new areas of the cave. Another inspiring member of the team is Boss Bo Leander, who discovered the entrance of the cave at the bottom of Lake Dolinsjön in July 1979. His passion for exploration and adventure continues to inspire the team. The team is made up of a diverse range of individuals, each with unique skills and experiences. Some of the other members of the team include Niklas Muren, Stefan Barth, Bas Lenander, Marcus Nord, Pierre Sandberg, Dmitry Gorski, Mats Freudenlund, Lars Lofquist, Ola Lofquist, Magnus Stromhall, Johan Udas, Oskar Svensson, and Stina Gabrielsson. Expedition Bjurälven aims to achieve 3 overall goals, which are as follows. Conduct a comprehensive exploration, mapping, and documentation of caves situated in the Bjurälven Valley. Raise awareness and promote the caves within the region, as well as the local community of Stora Blåsjön. Collaborate with universities to advance scientific research through the provision of valuable data. In March 2007, Mick and a group of fellow expedition members were headed to Jämtland, carrying a week's worth of clothing and diving equipment. However, while on the way, they received a call from the driver of the lead car in their convoy, who had set out the previous evening and almost reached their destination, but had experienced a mechanical issue. Furthermore, a Class 3 warning had been issued by the Meteorological Institute due to the heavy snowfall, which meant that weather conditions were dangerous. The other driver, who was in a 4-wheel drive vehicle, was stranded, and they would likely have to spend the night in the car if they continued. Therefore, they decided to turn back, and the trip was canceled. That ended the first expedition even before it began. The next year, a group of 13 enthusiastic divers from the Bjurälven cave diving team came together to try again. This time, they focused on Dolin Lake, as it had the potential for exploration. One team would explore Festens Grotto, or Festens Grotto, while the other half would explore Dolinsjön, the lake. The team at the lake made progress by cutting through meters of ice to create a large enough opening for divers to enter and exit. Then they started clearing away the gravel that obstructed the view of the opening that Bo had found many years before. One of the divers, Niklas Muren, slowly inched his way into the hole, lying down on the gravel and backing in with his legs first. The team watched anxiously as his torch disappeared into the darkness. After a while, his light reappeared, and Niklas announced that there was a large space inside. The team decided to proceed with the exploration, and 3 divers geared up to enter the cave. They continued their excavation efforts, and eventually all 3 divers squeezed through the narrow opening. The cave was now illuminated by their torches, revealing an unexplored world. It was unclear what lay ahead. After advancing approximately 164 feet, the divers turned around to evaluate if this was the optimal location for further exploration. Other possible sites were discarded, and from that point on, Dolin Lake served as the central point of departure for future explorations. To map the Bjurälven cave system, a 3D mapping technique was selected to provide a comprehensive view of the entire system. Navigation through any cave system is supported by lines that act as guides, otherwise known as guidelines. These lead divers to the exit, even in low visibility. The lines also serve as a reference for mapping the cave system, with details such as directions, heights, depths, and turns being recorded using compasses, dive computers, and measuring tapes. Although the manual process is time-consuming, it lays the foundation for developing a 3D model of the explored areas of the cave. The collected measurements indicated that the Dolin Lake was the longest underwater cave in the country. However, despite their achievements, the team recognized the need for enhanced safety and organization due to the significant challenges of cave diving in a remote, mountainous, and subarctic region with no mobile phone coverage, under rocks and ice, and temperatures nearing freezing. Therefore, before their next exploration, they planned for adequate safety and organization. In 2014, the second expedition faced new challenges and an entirely different scenario. During this expedition, Stefan Barth and Marcus Nord swam for 30 minutes into the cave, venturing farther than anyone had before. As they followed the passage upwards, they noticed a reflection on the water's surface and cautiously approached it. Breaking the surface, they realized they had discovered a vast chamber nearly half a kilometer inside the mountain. The discovery was shared during a meeting that evening, and the cave was mapped further the next day. The chamber was 328 feet long and filled with air, with layers of limestone in fantastic colors, shapes, and contours, including a 16-foot-high gallery. The space was named Rainshallen, the rainy hall, due to the constant flow of water raining down from the ceiling. Naming different sections of the cave helped them better discuss and relate to the areas, which were often named based on the appearance or significant events. Examples included Klappafisken, or Pet the Fish, Tempelgangen, the Temple Corridor, the Crack, Snorkeln, the Snorkel, and the newly discovered tunnel, Don't Touch That Rock. The latter was named for its dangerous positioning. The cave's mapping and documentation process was elevated to a higher level with the involvement of Bo, who discovered the cave's entrance in the 1970s. Bo is an expert in radio communication and homing and is also one of the leading authorities in the country. He developed a transmitter and receiver that could accurately pinpoint a location in the cave relative to the surface. To create precise charts of the cave, they needed to locate several points in space with a high degree of accuracy. These points were referred to as fixed points and were small stainless steel tags with unique ID numbers attached with bolts to various strategic locations in the cave. They were traced from the surface using a professional-grade GPS, and this highly precise procedure enabled the team to overlay their survey of the cave onto a map and determine exactly where the cave went under the landscape above. After the initial mapping of the known areas, further exploration and risk assessment have been going on for several years. The discovery of Rainshallen and other air-filled sections were just a few of the many discoveries that have since been made. These discoveries included several air-filled chambers, each of which presented its own unique set of challenges. Although these areas offered much to the explorers, they also posed significant risks, as the divers had to navigate their way through the passages while carrying heavy equipment and crossing treacherous, slippery slopes and rubble. While the diving itself did not present the greatest danger, the air-filled sections were fraught with risk, and an injury such as a sprained ankle or a broken leg could have serious consequences since there was only one way out. Additionally, hypothermia was a significant concern, as the water temperature was barely above freezing, and even a small leak in a diver's suit or glove could quickly become life-threatening. As a result, a great deal of attention has been given to risk analysis and safety protocols. In this expedition, the Bjurälven cave was further explored, resulting in an additional 360 feet being added to the known length, bringing the total to 7,365 feet. With this length, the cave was the sixth longest in the country, only 114 feet short of being the fifth longest. Satellite images revealed that the explorers had progressed about halfway to the Bjurälv Grotto from one end, while 902 feet had been explored from the other end. With each passing year, the explorers make incremental progress toward their ultimate goal of tracing the river's flow and mapping the connection between the two openings. Following the Bjurälven 2018 expedition, the official length of the Dolinsjön cave was determined to be 7,879 feet. However, no exploration diving took place in the cave in 2019. Instead, the team focused on mapping Koldhalet and discovering two new entrances in nearby Dolins. The expedition was carried out by 25 cave explorers, which included 2 new divers and 2 guests. Additionally, 3 locals from Stora Blasjön and 1 guest from Jorm were present throughout the entire week. During the 2019 expedition, the team used a Leica Viva GS-15 rover attached to a 6-foot carbon fiber pole and a Leica CS-10 field computer to measure points with their GNSS equipment. Bo's tracking device was also used to locate the points. A total of 13 new points were measured using GNSS technology during this expedition. The weather conditions during the expedition were initially stable, but they began to shift toward the end of the week. Heavy rain caused the water level in the caves to rise suddenly, resulting in the flooding of Dolin Lake and the base camp. As a result, a significant amount of equipment ended up submerged in water. The following morning, a rescue mission was launched to recover all of the equipment, which was ultimately successful. High-quality photographs were taken for documentation and media purposes. The pictures captured the beauty of Bjurälven and were taken by National Geographic photographer Irina Stangerska and her team, who were part of the Expedition Bjurälven 2019. During the same expedition, 53 dives were performed, which is fewer than the previous year. However, it's important to note that only photo dives were done in the Dolinsjön, with the focus being on exploring the nearby caves. This caused a reduction in the total number of dives. The Dolinsjön has an established base camp, making it easy to dive, while diving in the other nearby caves requires a significant amount of preparation and logistics. Compared to the previous year, the total amount of time spent diving decreased, and during the expedition week, divers spent a total of 52 hours in the cave. The reason for this is that the Dolinsjön cave requires longer dives to reach the end of the line, whereas the other caves in the area are relatively short. In Koldhalet, 311 feet of passages were mapped in the direction of Dolinsjön, making it the most promising area for the 2020 expedition. As for the map lengths of all the caves in the Bjurälven Valley, Bjurälvsgrotten remained unchanged at 984 feet in 2019, while Dolinsjön remained unchanged at 7,879 feet. Koldhalet had a length of 731 feet, while Spegelgrotten Semigrotten D3 had a length of 531 feet, although mapping data from 2019 was lost. Festin's Cave had been explored earlier and had a length of 213 feet. Despite the progress made so far, the team faced some specific challenges during their expedition. One of the divers experienced an issue with a leaking glove, which they managed to safely exit the cave from despite a small hole. Additionally, another diver accidentally activated the position finder in SOS mode, prompting the dive leader to notify a safety diver to locate them. Once the situation was resolved and the position finder was switched to the correct mode, the dive continued as planned. Furthermore, a miscommunication between dive buddies and poor visibility in a section of the cave resulted in their separation, but the first diver to the surface was able to quickly return and find their mate within 10 minutes. The team also encountered 3 accidents involving snowmobiles in the first few days when snowfall made the track more difficult to navigate. Fortunately, no individuals were injured and the snowmobiles sustained no damage. After enduring several years of the COVID-19 pandemic, the team was finally able to resume their cave exploration in the Bjurälven Valley in 2022. The feeling of being back and able to pursue several leads, including the Festin's Cave as well as exploring new ones such as Isgraden, also known as the Ice Cave, was exhilarating. Having been away from the project for 3 years, the team considered it a major success to be back in action. For this expedition, the team utilized the same equipment as before, consisting of a Leica Viva GS-15 rover mounted on a 2-meter-tall carbon fiber pole and a Leica CS-10 field computer, provided by the Swedish Lantmäteriet. They once again used their GNSS equipment to measure points, which were tracked using Bo's tracking device. Their objective for the year was to concentrate on exploring the Ice Cave and Festin's Cave. In the previous year, they were able to surpass a small obstruction in Festin's Cave and discover a larger passageway with a current on the other side. They planned to pursue this lead but realized that it would require significant effort to clear out the sand and gravel that blocked their path both at the cave entrance and the obstruction from the previous year. Despite having done a lot of digging previously, they knew that the water flow in the cave would replenish the same areas with fresh sediment. To reach Festin's Cave, they obtained special permission to use snowmobiles and had to cross a river. However, this year the river was not frozen, which meant they had to construct snow ramps on each side to cross, causing a one-day delay in setting up camp. Having a shovel with you is crucial in Bjurälven for tasks such as clearing snow, making snowmobile tracks, and removing underwater gravel. Once they established their camp and created a snowmobile track, they were able to enter the water. Safety was a top priority, and the initial divers focused on widening the first passage by moving sand to the sides. Beyond the first passage, the cave extends for 180 feet before reaching a side passage. If you proceed straight, you'll arrive at another entrance by traversing. If you turn left, you will reach the second restriction after a few meters. Before removing the gravel from that passage, the restriction measures about 9 to 16 feet. The primary restriction is at the bottom, where the current is strongest. After a few days of work, they were able to create enough space to pass through. The cave opened up, allowing them to continue up the slope, where they positioned a localization beacon that Boss could detect from the surface. They came across a slightly wider tunnel and continued upstream, although there was also a small path downstream. The downstream path had little or no current, so they didn't prioritize exploring it, but it might be something to investigate further on in their next expedition. They were able to advance a little further but encountered another obstacle, which is currently the end of the line due to the strong current. Although there are still some leads, they are narrow and quite constricted. The current plan is to return in 2023 and attempt to extend the exploration of the cave, with the expectation that it may be linked to the Meander Cave. On March 30, 2022, the group visited Isgrotten, also known as the Ice Cave. It's located near the junction of Lillälven, Little River, and Bjurälven. They reached the cave by snowshoeing from the base camp at Festens Cave. The group consisted of Lars Lofquist, Ola Lofquist, and Magnus Stromhall. The cave is easy to locate in winter if you are familiar with the surrounding area in the summer. It's situated in an opening in the forest on a plateau with steep slopes surrounding it. The ice cave has two entrances, but they are currently constricted by ice, preventing passage between them. The entrance furthest from the summer pathway provides access to the lower parts of the cave, and there's a sturdy tree next to it that is perfect for rigging a rope. To gain access to all known parts of the cave, about 98 feet of rope is required. To enter the cave, the rope is rigged on a nearby tree, and one can abseil down using SRT gear. The cave is relatively clean and covered mainly in ice, so a full cave suit may not be necessary. However, it is recommended to wear crampons or remain connected to the rope at all times, as it is quite slippery and there is a risk of falling. In 2022, the team discovered that about 70 to 105 cubic feet of ice had melted away since their last visit in 2019. As a result, they were able to abseil down almost straight to the bottom of the cave. The rocky bottom of the cave is now easily accessible, whereas before it was barely reachable. During their 2019 visit, the team found a reindeer skeleton in a corner that had slid down in a funnel of ice. This year, they observed that the ice around it had disappeared, allowing for a closer examination. It's challenging to determine the amount of ice remaining in the cave, since the shape of the cave beyond the ice is unknown. A rough estimate suggests that there's currently between 353 and 1,059 cubic feet of visible ice. The scallops and formations on the roof of the cave suggest that the two cave entrances are ancient swallets. As you move further down into the cave, the walls become sharp and edgy, and there is a significant amount of debris at the bottom, indicating that frost wedging may have caused the cave to collapse, potentially obstructing its continuation. To find out, more ice must melt. With the climate getting warmer, the cave will likely be worth revisiting in just a few years. This is the current account of Expedition Bjurälven's progress. We would like to thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed watching, take a dive on the like and subscribe buttons and hit the bell icon so you get notified when we come back with another exciting cave diving story.